It is clear that the go big or go home approach that President Biden and congressional Democrats took to the coronavirus relief and stimulus package this month was driven by lessons they feel they learned from President Obama's experience in 2009, getting an economic stimulus package through Congress in the first weeks after he took office, in the midst of the Great Recession. Biden, his White House staff, and party leaders clearly believe that two crucial mistakes were made. First, they believe that the Obama stimulus package was too small to get the country out of its economic troubles. With the benefit of hindsight, it is probably true that the package, pushed through on a party-line vote, was insufficient in size. The 2008 financial crisis, triggered by a collapse in subprime mortgages and the subsequent stock market plunge, was no exception to the belief that recessions are indeed the worst form of economic crisis. The recovery was so sluggish and painful for many Americans that the economy just barely turned the corner in time for Obama's 2012 re-election. But does basing the size and scope of spending on the feeling that they didn't do enough in 2009 make a lot of sense? After all, the two downturns bear no resemblance to one another, not in depth of the plunge, the shape of the downturn, or their respective durations. Yes, real gross domestic product fell by 5% in the first quarter of 2020 and another 31.4% in the second, but then it grew by 33.4% in the third quarter and another 4.1% in the fourth. The most recent Blue Chip Economic Indicators survey of top economists, released this month, puts the median forecast for this current quarter at 4.7% growth, 7.3% for the second quarter, and 6.9% for the third quarter. By comparison, in the last two quarters of 2008, real GDP had dropped 2.1% and 8.4%. In the first quarter of 2009, it dropped another 4.4% and 0.6% in the second quarter, before moving into positive territory with 1.5% and 4.5% growth rates in the third and fourth quarters, respectively. So even if we make the argument that the Democrats' 2009 package might not have been sufficient, it doesn't necessarily mean that Biden should have scaled this one up. Moving on, the second mistake that Democrats identify was that they believe it was utterly useless for Obama to seek GOP support. They are convinced that the current Republican Party is both unwilling and incapable of negotiating in good faith. In their view, valuable time was lost in the effort, and the bill was loaded up with all kinds of provisions designed to entice GOP members on board, all for nothing. It certainly appears that the White House meeting between Biden and 10 GOP senators on February 1st to talk about coronavirus relief and a stimulus package was only for show. It soon became obvious that the Biden administration had little interest in striking a deal, turning down concessions sought by Republicans, only to end up making a few of those changes when moderate Democrats started raising objections. However, that was not lost on Senate Republicans either. Compromising only seemed to be done with moderate Democrats, not anyone on their side of the aisle. There seems to be a consensus among Democratic insiders that if Obama could not get Republicans to the table, Biden wouldn't have the slightest of chances. But is that really the case? Obama took the presidential oath of office just 4 years after leaving the Illinois State Senate. He was never really into the weeds of legislative detail, not exactly comparable to someone who has served for 36 years in the Senate, before presiding over it for another 8 years as vice president, building up relationships along the way. Nevertheless, Democrats believe that if Biden reached out and sought genuine compromise, Republicans would have offered nothing. But now, Republicans have all the ammunition they need to justify their own scorched earth policies. And now by threatening to use reconciliation once again in order to pass the infrastructure package, Democrats are taking a heck of a risk. Time will tell whether it pays off. That's all for today's video though. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please make sure to follow EP Official on all social media shown on screen and linked in the description down below. Also make sure to comment your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and please hit the like button if you liked the video as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out more content from the channel here, and as always, tune in next time. EP out.